Hi there, Tamara here, and I'm harvesting some dandelion root on this lovely fall day. Here's our dandelion. You can see the leaves are they're serrated on the edges, and they come right from the same spot on the ground. All the leaves are coming out from, they're in a basal rosette, what we call a basal rosette on the ground, so they don't come out of a stalk. They're all just coming right up from the root. And so these are some ways that we can identify dandelion when it's not in flower. When it's not in flower, and especially when it's the fall, is a really good time to harvest the root, because all the energy of the plant is going back down into the root in the fall. And if the plant is in flower, all the energy, all the nutrients and everything are going to create the flower and then to create the seed. And so the root doesn't have as much in it. But when it's not in flower, there's going to be more energy in the root, more nutrients in the root. And then especially in the fall, everything's getting stored down there for the winter season. And so you have really like all the good stuff in the root. And that's a general rule for harvesting. When you're harvesting herbs, if you're going to work with the root, it's good to harvest it in the fall, ideally, especially if it's a perennial plant where everything is just going to get stored underground for the winter, and then it'll sprout back up in the spring. And so in the fall you have a chance to get really the most out of your roots. So the dandelion roots are a really great source of, they are a good source of minerals, and you can chop them up and dry them and decoct them into tea, simmer them for about 10 minutes to make a tea. For that, they can also be like added to meals. It's bitter. Dandelion root has some bitterness, so it's not everybody's favorite food. You want to kind of combine it with other stuff, and the same thing for tea. Other more flavorful things, but the bitterness has its own beneficial properties because any bitter herb is supportive of the digestive system. It stimulates secretions when you actually taste the bitter. So making dandelion root tea and sweetening it with honey would diminish those bitter properties. You do actually want them to support your digestion, which supports your liver, and I'm going to get into that a little more. So what I do with the dandelion root most commonly is that when it's fresh, I chop it up, and I after I wash it, clean off all the dirt, then I chop it up and I put it into alcohol, either like vodka or brandy, or into vinegar, usually apple cider vinegar, and that will extract all the properties. Not so much the minerals if you do it in alcohol, but a lot of it'll extract the bitter components and a lot of the medicine of the dandelion, and it will preserve it for a very long time. And then you just take drops of that, or maybe a teaspoon of that, or something like that. And so the dandelion roots are great medicine for the digestive tract, which in turn makes them medicine for the liver. So here's one that I've harvested. And so you see the leaves attached, and here's the root. And what you can see here is that there are these little like white spots, which are actually a fluid. They're like a liquid. And there's some coming out at the tip too. I don't know how well you can see that, but this is particular to dandelion roots and some other roots. In the fall season, late summer and fall, you get this white sap coming out from the roots, which is inulin. It is a starch, and it's a prebiotic starch. So it actually helps to feed the probiotics, all the good gut flora that you need, and like all the good flora and enzymes in your body that support your ability to keep various infections at bay, and to support detox, and to keep you in a healthy state of being and balance of all the microbes that make you up. So the inulin, this stuff, is really great to access, and you get it just this time of year. It's only really present in the plant. It's like a lot of the nutrients for the plant being stored in the root. You get it this in the fall, late summer or fall. So if you see this in a root when you're digging out roots, and you can often find great dandelion roots growing in the garden if you don't overly weed your garden and you let some dandelions grow into the fall, then you'll get nice fat long roots that you can easily dig out of your loose garden soil in the fall, and they will have some of this inulin, probably, if you get them at the right time. So that inulin, when you chop up the root and it's still fresh, it will just come out into the alcohol or the vinegar that you extracted in, and it will turn it kind of white and milky, and it will separate out a bit from the extraction, so that it's like it's milky on top or milky on the bottom, and then like more watery on top, something like that. When you shake it up, it all emulsifies, and that's a good thing to do every time before you take it. But when you extract that inulin, you're not only supporting the prebiotics and all your gut flora, you're also extra supporting your liver. The inulin is even more bitter, and more bitter means more secretions of saliva, then secretions of stomach acid, then secretions of bile, then secretions of all the microbes in your gut, stimulation of your peristalsis, and getting your whole digestion functioning so that you have the optimal ability to absorb nutrients and the optimal ability to clear out wastes. And when you when you take inulin-rich roots like dandelion, they also support the stimulation of production and secretion of insulin. So inulin stimulates insulin. So it really helps to support blood sugar balance. So I like to work with dandelion root a lot with people who come to see me who have high blood sugar, who are diabetics or pre-diabetics. This can really help stimulate the body to regulate blood sugar. And inulin itself will do this. So there's inulin in a lot of different roots. The Jerusalem artichokes that we have wild around here are another example. But lots of it in the dandelion roots in the fall. And that is a really great thing to take advantage of, because you can go out into your yard or your garden and you can harvest dandelions that are growing there at the right time of year, and you can preserve them really easily and really affordably, and you can in turn support your blood sugar to the extent that if there's a concern that at some point you might need to be put on insulin for insulin support, you might avoid that by working with dandelion. And not just that, and not just for blood sugar, generally for all kinds of hormonal balance through supporting the liver function. You get support with dandelion. So a lot of different like reproductive hormone balancing stuff, sometimes even thyroid, like different aspects of hormonal balance that are, that all to a certain extent are tied up with the function of the liver. And the dandelion root stimulates liver function and supports and encourages proper, timely clearance and tone and function of the liver in general. All of us can benefit from liver support these days. We have so many toxins that we're exposed to in our daily life, in the air, in the water, in the food, in soil, in the products that we use or are exposed to, and a little extra liver support can really make a big difference, I think, for pretty much anyone living on the planet at this time. So thinking about bitter herbs of different types will, any of them will support the liver, but dandelion is a really great example. So I encourage you to get out there in the fall. You can also do it in the early spring, but the fall is really ideal. Get your dandelion roots, chop them up, get them when they're inulin rich, which would be the fall. Wash them, chop them up, put them in a jar, cover them with alcohol, vodka, brandy, or vinegar, apple cider vinegar, I suggest, or just chop them up and put them out like on a paper, a basket, something to dry. And then you can simmer them for tea and use them that way and get even more of the probiotic support that way. But make good use of them. And at the same time, you'll find with a lot of the plants in the fall, they still have very healthy leaves on them too. Normally we say the spring is the time to harvest leaves and the fall is the time to harvest roots. It's kind of like general rules in herbalism. But in the fall, you will still find often healthy roots on healthy leaves on dandelions that you're harvesting for the roots. So you can take the leaves off. These can be used in food. They can be added to potato salads. They can be dried and added added to tea. They're particularly known to be supportive of kidney function, more so than liver function, but there's crossover between the two of them. The leaves also have some bitterness, so mixed with foods like that have a little bit of sweetness to balance it out but not take away the bitter flavor is a nice way to work with dandelion leaves. Even just chewing on a leaf, eating a leaf can really help to stimulate your liver and your kidney in their function and be really supportive. So, we have this cornucopia of goodness here, and we are so lucky. So I encourage you, check out the dandelions, and if you feel called, maybe dig up some roots and make good use of them. And give them some good thanks, because we're really lucky to have these in such abundance. So thank you, dandelion. We love you. Bye for now.